Afternoon's Liberal.
Basically, a 49-year-old man by the name of Ivan Milat appeared. He's a ganger by occupation, comes from Eagle Vale. He's been charged with 2 counts, one armed robbery and another of using a gun to commit an offence. Now, today in court, a little more light was shed on what that offence was, and involved the picking up of a hitchhiker at Liverpool and movements down the highway and an attempt to rob that hitchhiker at gunpoint near the turn-off to the Belanglo State Forest.
And these allegations made in court by police today?
That's correct. We were told that he was picked up at Kajula. He's a British tourist. He was. They got to the point near the Belanglo State Forest where police alleged the car was stopped. The defendant, Mr. Milat, allegedly produced a pistol or a revolver from under a seat and said, this is a robbery. The hitchhiker got out of the car, started running back up the highway. Police allege Milat got out of the vehicle and fired a number of shots at the man as he ran away, crying out, "Stop or I'll shoot." They struggled on the highway before a passing motorist actually picked up the hitchhiker and took him to Bowral Police Station where the attack was reported.
When did this offence allegedly occur?
This happened on January 25, 1990. That was sort of at the height of, I guess, the other disappearances of the backpackers whose bodies were later found in the Belanglo State Forest.
Yeah, and of course over the weekend there were a number of police raids in various parts of New South Wales on a number of properties.
Yes, well, that's correct. I understand there were 7 search warrants executed yesterday in New South Wales and interstate. A number of exhibits have been seized, truckloads in fact. They've been brought back here to Campbelltown Police Station. They include guns, machetes, some backpacks, some dusty old backpacks that were found, and they're now being examined. I understand there's 2 rooms full of material that is now going to be tested forensically to see whether or not it leads the Backpacker Murder Task Force anywhere else.
And was the defendant held without bail?
Yes, he's been remanded in custody to face court again next week. His solicitor, Jim Marsden, raised the point in court that the police allegations are very emotive simply because they use the terms backpacker and Belanglo. Obviously, that raises a lot of questions in people's minds.
Yeah. All right, we'll have a full report in National 9 News tonight. Please thank Simon Boda.
Hitchhiker at gunpoint 4 years ago near the Belanglo Forest.
The operation surrounding the arrest of 49-year-old Ivan Milat lasted long into the night. At a property at Hilltop near Mittagong, police seized a truckload of possible evidence: rifles, machetes, backpacks and camping equipment. This morning, police were back using metal detectors and sifting through dirt looking for clues. At the same time, other teams of police tackled the rugged terrain near Wombian Caves. At Campbelltown, crowds gathered for Milat's first court appearance on charges of armed robbery. Police prosecutor Sergeant Eddie Billett said they involve an attack on a British backpacker in January 1990. Police say Milat picked up the hitchhiker at Liverpool. Police claim Milat attacked the tourist on the Hume Highway just near the turn-off to the Belanglo State Forest, the same turn-off that leads to the sites where the bodies of 7 murdered backpackers were later found. Sergeant Billett said Milat grabbed a gun from under his seat and said, "This is a robbery." The backpacker, who was then 24, leapt from the car as Milat grabbed an old bag filled with ropes. Police claim Milat fired a shot and yelled, "Stop or I'll shoot," and "Get back in the car." The backpacker escaped when he hailed down a passing motorist. Police say the tourist, who is back in England, identified Milat 2 weeks ago from a series of photographs. In applying for bail, Milat's solicitor Jim Marsden described the prosecution's use of the words backpacker and Belanglo as emotive and asked that they be ignored by the magistrate.
Won't comment on the case at all.
Magistrate Kevin Flack refused to free Milat. There was obvious anger from him as he was driven away. He'll appear in court again next week. Simon Boda, National 9 News.
Henry is outside Campbelltown Court. What happened this morning, Sean?
David, it was standing room only here at Campbelltown Court. Milat sat through the 20-minute hearing emotionless, and he's been charged, of course, with the murder of 3 German backpackers, 2 English backpackers and 2 Victorians, James Gibson and Deborah Everest. We were told some gruesome details. One of the bodies found, the head had been actually severed. Another head was found with 10 bullets in it. John Marsden, appearing for Malat, denied all the charges and said he would strenuously plead not guilty. Malat was just emotionless. The court was packed to a standing room. About 30 journalists had to stand, representing all the media, and there were a lot, I think there were about 20 members of Task Force Air. At the height of this investigation, up to 200 police were involved. As you know, it's one of the largest investigations into murder ever carried out in this country. It was all over within 20 minutes. The streets of Campbelltown absolutely packed, wondering what was going on. As one woman said, why the interest in just one man? Well, I asked why not the interest in the deaths of 7 people.
Sean, when does he reappear in court?
He'll reappear in court on the 28th of June back here at Campbelltown, David.
OK, thanks very much. Sean Flannery outside the Campbelltown court this morning, and more on that story throughout the day, and of course a complete wrap-up in our news this evening. Well, more problems for the Melbourne Grand Prix with the federal
Court near Sydney has heard police have evidence linking Ivan Milat with the killings, which were described in detail. 49-year-old Milat says he's innocent.
It's been 9 days since the Backpacker Murder Task Force arrested Ivan Milat. Today, at his second court appearance, they revealed the full weight of their allegations against him. The court was hushed as the Eagle Vale father of one was charged with murdering Victorians James Gibson and Debbie Everest, German tourists Simone Schmidl, Gabor Neugebauer and Anja Hubschied, and Britain's Caroline Clark and Joanne Walters. During today's brief appearance, police revealed for the first time how each of the 7 backpackers died, giving a gruesome outline of their deaths to the court. Prosecutor Ian Lloyd QC said Anja Hubschied was decapitated, apparently by one blow. Her head hasn't been found. He said Clark and Walters were shot and stabbed, and there was evidence they had been sexually assaulted. Gibson and Everest were stabbed. She also had slice marks on her head, while Schmidl was knifed in the back. Neugebauer and Clark were shot several times with a Ruger rifle. Magistrate Kevin Flack heard police had searched several properties since Milat's arrest, including his Eagle Vale home. There, police say, they found parts of a dismantled Ruger rifle hidden in wall cavities. Ballistics tests confirm that weapon can be linked to shells found near Neugebauer and Clark's bodies. Police also claim they found a backpack, tent and sleeping bag similar to those owned by Simone Schmidl at the homes of Milat's brothers. They say a sleeping bag and camper's mattress, like Caroline Clark's, were also discovered. Mr. Lloyd said police had also seized a range of weapons, including Ruger rifles, crossbows and pistols, as well as a large quantity of ammunition. Another charge was also laid today, the attempted murder of another British backpacker who police claim later identified Milat. Milat's solicitor, John Marsden, said the charges would be defended.
He has asked me to call upon the press to allow my client to be subject to a fair trial, to abide by the right of every member of our community, that is, he is innocent until proven guilty.
Soon after Milat's court appearance, police contacted the families of the 7 murdered backpackers.
I think they did a very concentrated and a very efficient work, and they were focused on this case.
Milat will face court again next month. Simon Boda, National 9 News.
Queensland drivers have been slugged in this afternoon's state budget. We'll pay more for car registration.
Ago, police search teams have uncovered rifles, pistols and camping equipment. The command post at Campbelltown in Sydney's southwest was also closed down, with evidence, documents and computers taken back to city headquarters. Milat is due back in court next month. The Adidas Sporting Goods Company has run into trouble with its latest shoe
Murder case. 49-year-old Ivan Robert Milat appeared in Campbelltown court to face 7 charges of murder. Milat caused a sensation when he sacked his lawyer in court, deciding to represent himself. The accused alleged he was being framed by police. His application for bail was refused and he was remanded in custody to appear in court again this time next week. A Sydney police task force has apparently smashed a widespread lotto gambling racket.
Mr Malat has accused the Crown of framing him, saying they haven't one iota of proof to convict him. The Crown told the court its case is a circumstantial one.
In custody for more than a month, an agitated Ivan Milat fronted Campbelltown Court today, accused of the murder of 7 backpackers and the attempted murder of an 8th. Mr Milat brushed his solicitor aside, declaring that he would represent himself.
I am very concerned in relation to him obtaining a fair trial, but it's a person's right to make their own decision. There's been no clash between he and I.
Magistrate Kevin Flack offered the 49-year-old time to find another solicitor, but he refused.
The Crown case will proceed come what may, whether he's represented or unrepresented.
In court, Mr Lloyd said it was a circumstantial case against Mr Milat, but that it would include 300 witness statements, 600 photographs and hundreds of pages of ballistic findings. The Crown prosecutor said approval is still needed from the federal government to pursue leads overseas, including the positive identification of almost 1,000 articles seized. Among them a water bottle with a name scratched out. The Crown alleging infrared photography reveals the nickname of one of the murder victims. An angry Mr Milat said it wasn't fair amidst cries from the gallery to give him bail. I'm stuck in jail, yet they don't have one iota of proof. Ivan Milat applied for bail, but that was immediately opposed by the Crown prosecutor, who said back in 1971, Mr Milat had fled the country for 3 years when he was facing rape charges. Mr Milat said he'd been found not guilty and proclaimed his innocence, telling the court, I'm going to defend these charges. Magistrate Flack denied bail. As he was being led away, Ivan Milat shouted that he was being framed.
Queensland police say a post-mortem on the body of a woman found in Scrub south of Brisbane shows she died of head injuries before...
In fact, his solicitor, the last time he appeared in court, he applied for bail then, saying he didn't want to sit in jail. Well, the Crown took 3 months to prepare the case against him, and bear in mind there are 300 witnesses to take statements from. Today he was a changed man. Ivan Milat said last time he was innocent, and he demanded proof. He's got a new solicitor this time, a young fellow from Brisbane named Andrew Bowe, who spoke for him while Milat sat quietly in the dock, this time saying nothing. Bowe made a point of getting the Crown to confirm that since 1967, Ivan Milat has never been convicted of a crime of a sexual or a violent nature. He wanted to get that point across, and Milat was remanded to appear at a city court next month.
So he changed his mind about defending himself. What sort of support is he getting from his family? Are many people there to witness what's going on?
Yes, his sister Shirley was here again today, and also one of his brothers with a little toddler in his arms. We spoke to them briefly outside the court. For obvious reasons, they're trying to hurry away from this, where Ivan faces 7 backpacker murder charges and 1 of attempted murder. But his sister-in-law said they're proud of Ivan and they'll stick by him despite the enormity of the charges.
Okay, Harry, thanks for your report this morning, and we look forward to a full report in our news this evening.
Okay, David.
Harry Potter at the Campbelltown Court in Sydney. An argument over a game of pool has led to a brawl in a Melbourne hotel, which
South Wales will now be defended by Brisbane lawyer Andrew Bowe. Also coming to Milat's defence outside the court, his brother William and family.
Can you say something on your brother's behalf? Yes, we're very proud of him.
Milat hasn't entered a plea. He's been refused bail and will appear in court again next month.
There's no doubt 4-wheel drive vehicles have been a success story.
I asked that details of Milat's record be made clear. He has not had a criminal conviction since 1967 and has never had a conviction of a violent or sexual nature. The solicitor attacked the Crown and police, claiming they'd leaked details of their case to the media. Of course, that's dangerous, and I don't want Mr Milat to be disadvantaged. Milat's family was at the court in force, led by his brother William and sister-in-law Carolyn.
Yes, we're very proud of him.
The case now moves from Campbelltown to a city court. Milat has agreed to a month-long adjournment as police continue to compile their brief of evidence.
You're going to make a bail application to the Supreme Court. Can you indicate that to us at this point?
No, I can't indicate that at this point.
Milat is facing a total of 17 charges relating to the stabbing and shooting murders of 7 backpackers. His family has been making regular visits to Long Bay Jail.
How does one family cope?
Felicity Moffat, 7 Nightly News.
Australia is